Hey everyone, this is Big Boy Angler. I am currently a Death Shadow, somewhat of an expert when it comes to it. I wouldn't consider myself someone like Michael Rapport or Ben Jones, but I'm pretty well versed in the Shadow Cabal universe, as we like to say in Reddit. I'm coming here today with a little twist on the traditional Death Shadow archetype, which is normally seen as a really threat light package when it comes to 4 Anglers, 4 Death Shadows, and then 3 Snapcasters as their standard creature base with Street Wraith, but if you're hardcasting Street Wraith, you're probably not having a good time. So what we have here today is, instead of Angler being the biggest threat, we actually are mixing up a bit with 4 copies of Fiend. Now Fiend is a 1/2, 2 mana, 1 generic, 1 red. Says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Fiend gets +3/+0 until end of turn. Now, back in 2013, 2012, we saw the Suicide Blue decks, which ran 4 copies of Mutagenic Growth, 4 copies of Taxing Probe in order to help them power it out and make him huge as possible, quick as possible. But now we have Fatal Push in the format, which is huge because it just automatically kills Fiend as soon as he comes down. It's a little bit frustrating, and then he's obviously in bullet range, he's in shock range, even with K commands and whatnot, so we have to be wary of that. But in the Death Shadow shell, we have access to Stubborn Denial. 3 copies of that help us protect it, because as soon as we cast Stubborn Denial, it will trigger Kiln Fiend, which will then recognize it as a 4-power threat, turning on Ferocious, enabling the spell to be countered. They can't pay 1. And then we have 4 copies of Death Shadow, because we have a very heavy shock, fetch shock mana base, which is intuitive for all the Grixis colors. Death Shadow fits in perfectly, and as an alternate threat, he can just kill and steal games right out of people's feet. Obviously, Grixis Death Shadow is one of the best decks in the format, and it has its ups and downs. Like I said, sometimes it will be the very best top deck. Other times, you're going to have to scroll down the MTG Goldfish page to see where it's located at. So let's move on to our core package of the deck. So we have 3 Dreadhorde Arcanist, 4 Death Shadow, and 4 Kiln Fiend. Dreadhorde Arcanist is our budget replacement for Snapcaster Mage. Obviously, Snapcaster Mage and traditional Grixis Death Shadow decks acts as a huge tempo card because you're able to snap and then grab back any instant or sorcery, all of them almost costing 1. So Stubborn Denial, Thought Scour, Serum Visions, Fatal Push, all those cards get turned on. Dreadhorde Arcanist is a good imitation of that because every time he attacks, we get to play a spell from our graveyard for free. So that helps us get all the incremental value. So Thought Scour, Serum Visions, Fatal Push, Lightning Bolts, all those get turned on pretty quickly with Dreadhorde Arcanist. We have 4 Death Shadows, which help us just... It's a big, huge threat that our opponent has to deal with, and Stubborn Denial will often protect it, helping it to fight off anything that goes a little too close to comfort for us. And then we have 4 Kiln Fiend, which was previously mentioned before, and it has a great way of just winning games because we could stack our cantrips quicker, and then we're able to just go off with a Temur Battle Rage. And the new card in this deck that I really like is 3 Unearth. Previously, like I said, Kiln Fiend was a lightning rod for everyone to remove, and so is Death Shadow. As soon as Death Shadow gets on the board, people are like, I need to remove this because I'm going to die. Unearth, 1 mana, return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from a graveyard to the battlefield. Cycling 2. So people are probably wondering why I'm not playing Claim to Fame. I'm playing this card instead. I've had many instances where Claim to Fame just sits in my hand and rots. And with Cycling 2 is huge because I can just pay 2 mana, cycle it, instant speed, go grab that removal spell I need, go grab that Bolt, go grab that Stubborn Denial or my threat, and it's so nice. And with Arcanist, we're able to flash it back when it attacks, so we can grab back another threat from the graveyard or grab back another Arcanist for more value. That's why I'm running Unearth instead, and 1 mana is huge with Arcanist as well. Now this is our pump spell package, 2 Temur Battle Rage, and 3 Mutagenic Growth. So the 3 Mutagenic Growth is 1 Phyrexian mana, so we can pay 2 life instead of the green, and target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. But with Death Shadow, this is essentially giving us 1 mana for +4/+4, which is pretty huge. And then Temur Battle Rage, it reads target creature gains double strike till end of turn. That creature also gains trample if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. So what Kiln Fiend and Death Shadow, it basically turns into 1-hit kills. If not, it will trample over any small blocker they have, and it will win games out of nowhere. This is what makes most Death Shadow decks so potent, is Temur Battle Rage, and the opponent is forced to play around it. It's a huge card in the deck. Our cantrip package, it says 4 Thought Scours, 4 Serum Visions. I'm counting Street Wraith as a really bad Catastrophe Probe because it says pay 2 life cycling, instant speed, and we can cast it later on if we need like a Swamp Walk threat or something to block. Our move package is 4 Lightning Bolt. This one dismember. We're having Lightning Bolt over Fatal Push in the main board because Lightning Bolt goes directly towards face, which we want to be aggressive as possible. Moving on, we have 3 Stubborn Denial and 4 Thoughtseize for our Disruption package. Again, Stubborn Denial, as I said, great way to protect all of our threats and counter any Planeswalkers or any funky artifact spells we don't like. And Thoughtseize is a great discard spell. We all know that. Our mana base is a little more budget-friendly than most Grixis Death Shadow decks. Most Grixis Death Shadow decks are running 4 Bloodseed Mire, 4 Polluted Delta, 3 Scalding Tarn, or a Flooded Strand instead of the Scalding Tarn. But we're running only 8 because I wanted to make this deck as budget-friendly as possible for people wanting to get into Death Shadow archetype without spending thousands of dollars on the mana base alone. So we're going to just have 8 fetches, 4 Bloodstained Mires, 4 Polluted Delta, and then for shocks we have 3 Blood Crypt, 3 Water Grave, and 1 Steam Vents for our losing life or mana fixing. And the nice thing about this, though, we're not going to be cut off as red as easily than most Grixis Death Shadow decks because we're going to have a lot more red sources with 3 Blood Crypt and 1 Steam Vents, where traditional Grixis Death Shadow lists are only running 1 Blood Crypt and 1 Steam Vents. Maybe 2 if they get lucky. Moving on to our sideboard, we have 2 Fatal Push, 2 Abrade, 2 Disdainful Strokes, 1 Ceremonous Rejection, an extra Stubborn Denial, Playing Engineer, 2 Down Spell Bombs, and just 1 Terminate to deal with any creature. And then we have 2 Young Pyromancer as an alternate threat. Really, Young Pyromancer, you can steal the game if they're not careful, especially with Dreadhorde Arcanist. The elementals you can get is huge, and they're not expecting a go wide strategy post board, so I bring it in a lot of the times too. Also a great chump blocker against Tarmogoyfs. Moving on to upgrades, obviously Snapcaster Mage is a shoo-in. Gurmag Angler would be in place of Kiln Fiend. So with Gurmag Angler coming in, we're going to take out Kiln Fiend. We're going to put in Snapcaster Mage for Dreadhorde Arcanist because then we're in a more traditional Grixis Death Shadow range. And then Floodstrand can be a budget replacement for Scalding Tarn. Scalding Tarn's the endgame, but Floodstrand works fine in that place too. Moving on, great sideboard upgrades are Liliana Last Hope, Liliana the Veil, Culligan's Command, and then Jace's Verdant Prodigy. And that is a deck tech. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any comments or questions, comment down below. Thank you very much.